What's up, everyone? How's it going? Today is May the 13th, and we did not take any trades today. And honestly, we were not even on the charts that much here today because today was CPI day, so we did not want to risk trading with crazy market conditions. So there goes that. So what I want to do is let's go ahead and analyze what happened here today on the market and go from there. So let's go ahead and do this complete live analysis session, and we're going to chart everything out as well. So first, I want to go ahead and mark out NQ market open, and we saw CPI right at 730, which left us with this candle right here. And I want to go ahead and see if we can see any news liquidity plays. So we have news liquidity down here and potentially even up there if you want to consider that as well. So we're looking at a range, looking to take one, go to the other, or vice versa, depending on how Bookmap aligns with it as well. But that's how it's looking right at that point. But let's go ahead and do the higher time frame chart. So we do have main liquidity down there. The main liquidity there. Main liquidity there. Go ahead and mark this high out so we know where we are previously. And we also have that right there. Now let's go on to the 1 hour. I'm doing this in a quick method so that I don't bore you guys out. And we do have an additional 1 hour right here, and you can also consider this wick, because just take a look at how this wick looks right there. It's such a big and significant wick that we want to mark that as liquidity as well, even though the structure doesn't actually show it to be liquidity. So there's that. These are all the liquidity levels I'm honestly looking for. I'm not looking for much else. Maybe potentially mark out this as a gap fill, this as also a gap fill, and this as a level of interest alongside these lows as well. But it's unlikely price will head all the way down there. Let's go ahead and mark out volume profile. First, what I want to do is mark our volume profile of the recent range, which you can go ahead and do on the 4 hour. But you do see that our point of control is lining up, so not much insight from that. Let's go all the way down there to, I want to go down to these lows. We see that our point of control is down here at this liquidity, but we are at a decent level of volume in terms of where we're at, so I'm not too worried. Now let's go to an area where we saw higher, so right there, and what we see is that this area right here, this is very high point of control area, but I also see that there is high volume nodes right here up at this level, and also right here. And we did happen to go ahead and take out this area already. So now since we broke that, this area can stand as barrier, helping us push up and capture the next key volume area, which does look like we happen to take. Additionally, we do have such heavy volume up at these highs right here, even though we're at those highs for such little time during the point of control which you have marked out. Yeah, now look at that. You have two big nodes. It's going to look like binomial distribution, and our main volume is traded above with this significant node as well, but we've broken above it and stayed above it. So I'm expecting it to go up around that level. So that's some overall context with the liquidity that we had marked out on the charts. Let's go ahead and do the same type of analysis here on ES. Let's go on a 30-minute, mark out where market open is. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Oh yeah, I do want to mark out news liquidity for news liquidity. We got this high right here. And we also got this low right here. Now let's go ahead and see what's up for. So we do have main liquidity there. Main liquidity there. Main liquidity there. It's gonna be a likely liquidity level. Main liquidity there. Gap fill here. Gap fill there as well. Now that's for everything below. Now let's go ahead and see what's above as well. So we do have main liquidity alongside a supply zone right here, being a 4-hour decent significant supply zone. So we are marking that out as well. We have another main liquidity level there, and another main liquidity level there, and finally we have one there. Let's go to the 1 hour and see what's happening there as well. One hour, I don't see much else that wasn't already captured on the 4 hour. So let's go ahead and do our volume profiles. I'm gonna go to the lows. Nothing much, we do see high volume there, but volume where we're sitting at is there as well, so not too worried about it going all the way down. Let's go to the highs. We do see that we are at a heavy volume node, but also there's heavy volume node above around this level, so I'm definitely not biased completely towards the downside, even though our POC is towards the downside, because there is still high volume areas that can be reached above. So now that we have that in mind, let's go ahead and see what actually happened within the market and how we could have potentially taken the trade if it was not CPI. So we have all our levels. We see that at CPI data, what we did at CPI data, we took out this main liquidity level and we pushed up. Now CPI created this really big candle with the wick. Let's see how many ticks it actually is. Around 366 tick candle, and we created liquidity likely both on the top wick and the bottom wick. Now something interesting happened both on NQ and ES. I remember seeing it while I was charting ES. But take a look at what happened here. We swept this lower liquidity level twice from the high impact news. Now, potentially, we could have used either one of these lows. I would have preferred this low, right? Because, nope, actually we would have preferred this low because market open is there and it is a market open candle. So unfortunately, we would not have been able to take that trade, but this would have been a decent area to get in because we swept out the lower level of interest and we started moving up. And let's go ahead and see how that played out on Bookmap as well, right at 8:30. All right. So what we saw happen, market open, we had this key level up top, price went straight towards that level and took it. Now we're just aiming towards the upside in terms of liquidity. Don't see much there at all, but now from there, it's likely that we head towards this top liquidity where we might see further reaction as well. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and check it on the footprint as well. Right at 8:30. Yep, I mean, I see a lot of buying delta around that area, but right as you get to those highs after sweeping that liquidity, what I see is that sellers do start to come in here, but the area where sellers came in held as support later on, and price pushed upwards. Yeah, but nothing too significant there. But what I look on from the chart is that right once market opened, from 8:30 until almost 9:30, that entire hour was just a direct move up. Unless we could have found a retracement play there, it's likely that we would not have found any opportunities. So let's see if there's anything at 8:45, which was already here. So let's see what happened here at 8:45. Yep, I mean nothing, because if you look at it, right, we're between two key spread of liquidity levels, and depending on where we break, that's might be where we head. But there's honestly no entry model here that would have signified us to actually enter into this trade. Now, looking forward, we just continue to go up. So now let's see what happened here at 9:30 as we swept the upper liquidity levels, right around starting from 9:15. I mean, if you look at it from that area, that's when sellers started coming in and holding this area with the barriers, and the barriers are actually getting to hold. So this could potentially show signs of reversal from this area, but let's just see what happens here on Bookmap. Yeah, so we see this barrier holding, but unfortunately this barrier had not gotten broken, and now buyers are holding it, as you can see with this price action. Now our only targets are above. A long from this position would not be a bad idea. If we saw additional chart confluence along from this position here at 1051 or 951 on this chart, around this candle would not be a bad idea at all. Let's go on ES and see how that looks. So say we enter at 5904, targeting 5915. 5915 from 5904. 5904. Stop would be below the barrier, and the barrier is at around 55895. So around 40 ticks here on ES, and we would target 5915 at the least. That gives us a nice 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And if you would look at this trade, we are barely in drawdown. Like, that's the beauty of these type of trading models, right? Because although your risk to reward is not the complete greatest, the time in which you're in drawdown is very little for you to even get into that unrealized drawdown that some prop firms create. But this maintains your higher Sharpe ratio within your trading models strategy, and less drawdown is always better. But let's see. Yeah, I mean, here we're just heading between barrier to barrier. This barrier is holding, but nothing else there. Now from here could have been a nice long 1 to 2 risk to reward. You might have had to use heavier size, but we see this barrier right here. That magnet is so close to it. This got swept out. That would have been a nice area to take a long. But let's go ahead and see how that long action would have played out here on the footprint chart as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So right around here, we're looking for heavy selling absorption and signals of buying coming. So what I see here is that down at those liquidity levels, we see a decent amount of selling liquidity come in that is unable to push through. And we saw that here before as well. Lots of selling delta here that couldn't push through. If you look at the volume of both these candles, the volume is primarily traded here at the bottom of these candles, close to that passive liquidity that we saw in Bookmap. Now with the introduction of so much buying delta and buying imbalances as seen here, definitely a good indication that it might be time to enter within the market. But that's how you can use footprint in terms of that. And then at that time, it's essentially the end of the market trading session, and there isn't much really to catch. You keep your take profit there, but you see how price reacts. Now price went, took that level, came back down until it took the highest level. So a TP being at that 5915 level would not have been a bad idea to maintain sustainable drawdown measures as well. You could have potentially re-entered there, targeted these highs simply with barrier analysis. But that's honestly going to be all I have here for today. We overviewed potential long that could have been made from around these relative lows on ES. We talked about how news liquidity played a high impact into the overall move of the day, and we looked on that on Bookmap and Footprint as well. And that pretty much concluded the entire New York session because of the strong and straight upwards move that we saw from 8:30 to 9:30 completely without much opportunity at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions regarding the concepts or ideas that I've discussed in this video, feel free to join the Discord server. It's completely free and has a bunch of resources that I highly recommend you to take advantage of. Or you may also just leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions there. That's all I have here for today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for a market analysis video because I will not be able to trade live during market session tomorrow. So I guess I'll see you guys then. Thank you. Goodbye.